Support for these programs has been provided by Bank of America Merrill Lynch and Perfect Building Maintenance, New York Community Bank, All Nation Renovation, Kilroy Architectural Windows, New York's Window Company, Greenberg Traurig, LLP. Additional support has been provided by AVR Realty Company, LLC, Capital One Bank, C.B. Richard Ellis, Cushman & Wakefield, Douglaston Development, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Eastern Consolidated, Hal Fettner, Durst Fettner Residential, Stephen Napolitano, First American Title Insurance Company, Friedman, LLP, Gemini Real Estate Advisors, LLC, Genova, Burns and Gian Tomasi, Grubb and Ellis, Investors Savings Bank, Jack Jaffa and Associates Real Estate Consultants, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, James Orphanides, Centurion Holdings, Madison Realty Capital, Markham, LLP, Marcus and Millichap Real Estate Investment Services, Margolin Weiner and Evans, LLP, Massey Knackle Realty Services, M&T Bank, Meridian Capital Group, The Moynihan Group, Newmark Knight Frank, SJP Properties, Siami Development, Sterling and Sterling Inc., RAL Companies and Affiliates, LLC, Spandrel Property Services, Urban American.
So here we are. It's January 2011. The world looks a little better. People say things are really going to be nice. So I really want to know what's going to happen in the residential and the marketplace. So today I've assembled 4 prominent individuals who are going to provide their insight on the state of the market. My guests include Susan DeFranza, who is the president of Related Sales, Joel Breitkoff, a principal at Alchemy Properties, Inc., Robert Scaglione, Senior Managing Director of Marketing with Rose Associates, and last but not least, Michael Kay, the CEO of Douglaston Development. So you're operating 2 properties there. You have the Edge in the chic Echo Boomer area of Williamsburg, and you have the Ohm on the far west side, where Related is going to have a major project called the Hudson Yards. How do you see the residential market today?
Well,
yeah, one is a sale and one is a rental.
We've seen, certainly since this spring and then starting more strongly this summer, a big bump in the amount of traffic and the amount of activity and the sales prices at the Edge. There has been, obviously, there was a period, a rather long period, after the Lehman situation where people were not coming to the market. And that seems to have ended this spring. We've had very vigorous sales since then, and we're very optimistic about being able to continue that into 2011, particularly because there's very little new product in Williamsburg, where the Edge is located. At the Ohm, we also had pretty strong rental situation. We were renting 50 apartments a month through the summer, and we're now over 90% rented in the building. It's a 369-unit building. So that was a strong rental, and it was in both properties are in locations which are sort of emerging neighborhoods. So I think that we've through creating a lot of amenities at both projects, I think that we've successfully brought people into neighborhoods that were, prior to the cycle, perhaps considered not ripe for the kind of development that we've done.
Now, Bob, you have, with Rose Associates, you're managing and leasing, what, over 31,000, 35,000 units?
35,000 apartments.
35,000 apartments. What do you see with regard to the rental market today in Manhattan? And I think, where are concessions? What's really going on in general?
Well, overall, I would say we are cautiously optimistic. 2010 has been a very good year. On the existing properties, we've been able to completely eliminate concessions and start to move the rents northward. On new lease-ups, we are still giving concessions of a free month or paying a broker fee, but that's probably 50% less than we were paying last year. So things are moving in a very positive direction, and we are cautiously optimistic. We don't want to get too excited.
Now, who's renting apartments? I think that's the real question. You know, is there a certain age? Is it, you know, are they people from New York? Everybody wants to come to New York City. Where do you see that? And, you know, how does someone qualify for a rent? Because there was an article in the newspaper talking about certain people may have to guarantee, you know, the rent and so on.
Well, first, the city is 75% rentals, so this is a rental city. And there are people from all age ranges, all walks of life. We're getting some international relocation, some national relocation. There's been some hiring in the city going on recently. So it's really all over the place. And I'll say on some of the higher end properties, we probably are still maintaining a percentage of people that would normally be buyers that I think are sitting on the sideline, not investing in the sales market just yet, but they want to live in that condo level rental style properties. They want the condo lifestyle. They're just not buying, and they're kind of sitting on the sidelines.
So now relating to condo, we have you, Joel. You have right now 3 condo projects, all basically finished or pretty close to be finished in 3 different neighborhoods. Why don't you tell us what you have and what you're doing and how you see the marketplace?
Well, chronologically, we finished the Hudson Hill condominium about a year or so ago. We went from 0% sold in the fall.
Why don't you tell my audience where Hudson Hill is and so?
That's 58th between 9th and 10th. It's about 70 apartments, luxury condominiums. And we went from 0% sold to about 75% sold in about a year. And it was a difficult time to sell about a year ago. The market had not really recovered too much, but we've had strong sales at this point. We also have the ISIS condominium at 77th and 2nd. It's 32 apartments, family-style apartments. We got TCO about 3 or 4 months ago, and you know, the first few units, you know, it's always more challenging to sell in a low-sold condo, but we've gotten great momentum. We're at 35% sold now. We're very happy, and the traffic has been tremendous in the last 6 to 8 weeks. Took my cautiously optimistic concept, but we are cautiously optimistic. And then, of course, the Griffin Court condominium at 800 10th Avenue at 54th Street. We have 95 apartments. We have a 9,000 square foot private courtyard for the residents, a gym. It's a really special project. And we are on our way to about 10% sold with a bunch of contracts out. So we should be hopefully effective by the end of the year.
Now, on 77th and 2nd, has the 2nd Avenue subway have had an effect on sales, do you think?
That's a good question. We were very concerned before we closed on that a few years ago, and we did a research. Actually, the stop is nowhere near our
I agree, but it's the traffic and everything else.
Right. I think that there's that perception, and we've worked hard to overcome that. There's some people concerned, but they realize it's a short-term issue, relatively short-term issue. It's probably more of an issue to some degree for retailers. We have one retail space that we're hoping to lease up, but it is of concern. We do have great windows. We actually have Wausau windows, and so from
I know my friend installed them.
Installed them, yes, exactly.
Kilroy, New York's window company.
Kilroy did a great job for us, but it's a tall building. It's got great light and air, and the first units we sold were actually on the lower floors.
And last but definitely not least is Susan. I mean, Related is the preeminent rental. Everyone's good, but Related has the most on the new stuff. Rose has been around, great company, but you have right now, they're all finished, some great projects. The properties on the west side have done fantastic, then the one on 3rd Avenue. So what's happening with the Related sales?
We, in the calendar year of 2010, achieved $1 billion in condominium closings. So from our perspective, we have definitely seen and realized a rebound in the marketplace from the calendar year of 2009. Similarly to what we're hearing here, The rental market is very robust. It's strong. Unlike a year and a half ago, wherein we had to offer concessions and pay broker commissions, we no longer have to do that. Our entire portfolio is at 99% occupancy, and we have recently closed or sold the last condominium at the Harrison on 76th in Amsterdam. We sold the last condominium unit at Superior Inc. this past week. And at the Brompton, the Robert A. M. Stern design property at 85th and 3rd, we have but 2 or 3 residences remaining for sale. So our outlook for the 2011 real estate residential year is one that is positive, that is resilient, that, you know, as we've discussed, there's no new inventory coming onto the marketplace, with the exception of one of our properties, but I may wait a few moments to speak about that.
But I want you to, because I
Okay.
think that's, I recently wrote an article about the change. Charles Bagley wrote it, but I wrote one before him about what's happening on 42nd Street in Times Square. And
One singular sensation is what I'd like to say.
Right.
And that's our property at 42nd Street between Dyer Avenue and 10th Avenue. It's another mixed-use development, which we're very, very excited about. And we're sort of comparing it to Time Warner Center in the sense that it will have a hotel, the London-based Yotel, a signature theater designed by Frank Gehry, so we have a cultural component, and 500 market rate rentals, and 100...
80-20, right?
And 80-20, that's
20%
correct.
they're affordable.
That's correct. And 151 condos starting on the 54th floor, going up to the 60th floor with just outstanding views. The building is designed by Architectonica. David Rockwell has done the interior design for the building. And we're also pleased that we have Equinox, which will provide an exclusive residents-only fitness club and 23,000 square feet of amenity space. So we really feel that it's a new little city within sort of the center of it all.
You know, speaking about little cities, you're now the leasing agent. You were before, and now you're back to be the leasing agent of Peter Cooper Stuyvesant Town. Let's talk about that. I mean, that's 11,500 units?
Approximately.
What's
Over
happening
80
there?
acres.
What's happening over there?
We're gearing up to start renovating apartments again and offer inventory to the general public, and making sure that the community programming and events and services is still on a very high level for the existing residents. There are over 25,000 people that live there, and we want to make sure they get the service that they're entitled to.
And what about, Stuytown always, it's a great location, it's, it could be called Hospital Row because of Beth Israel and, Hospital for Joint Disease and New York Eye Infirmary. What about the retail on First Avenue? What's happening with that?
There's normal retail turnover going on. It's going on citywide, and Rose is very close to finalizing a couple of new retail leases for some both local and national vendors to come in. And we are selective on the mix that we put into it to make sure that it's good for the neighborhood and good for the existing residents. There's got to be a symmetry between both. And I would expect to see the retail completely filled up shortly.
Susan mentioned, the amenities, the Equinox gym, private just for the tenants. How important are amenities in the sale and the rental of units? The edge, the air, some of your properties and the other properties that are related to us.
I know there's been some discussion recently, I read an article or a couple of articles about how sort of amenities were, some people felt that amenities were no longer a critical thing. It was all about price. I completely disagree with that. Our amenities at our projects have really been a big part of our successes. Our amenities at the edge, we have 40,000 square feet. We have an indoor swimming pool. We have screening rooms. We have virtual golf. We have a panoply of things that people can use and that they are using. And it's a big part of indoor basketball court of what people are interested in doing. And it's helped to sell some of our smaller apartments where a person may not have a big apartment, but in addition to their apartment, they have 40,000 feet of amenities. Similarly, at the Ohm, we have approximately 20,000 feet amenity package, which includes a performance lobby where the Knitting Factory, which is a sort of an alternative entertainment music group comes and puts on performances in the lobby. We have a number of outdoor spaces. We're right near the High Line. And so for us, at any rate, it's been a very important part of our marketing strategy that we think has been successful for us.
Amenities are crucial. It's all about lifestyle. People work very hard to be able to afford the rents that they're paying, and they want to come home and be able to go work out or go to the lounge or do some other social entertaining in their amenity space within their own home. So it's great. The larger the building, the more that developers can afford to give back more space. But I think you're going to see an evolution in lifestyle spaces in these buildings where not only will we be providing the amenity spaces, we'll be programming the events for them. At a building, Chelsea Landmark, we have a tasting of the month. We have local restaurateurs come in once a month and give food tastings and wine tastings, and the residents are very positive about that.
You don't invite television hosts?
Sure. At the Air, we have soundproof music rooms where local musicians and local talent from Lincoln Center that live in the building can come in and practice, and it's been well received. So I think the amenities continue to evolve, and the programming behind them is continuing to evolve.
We have a different niche. You know, our projects, you know, tend to be smaller, They're anywhere from 30 apartments to 100 apartments. So we don't necessarily have the huge amount of space for amenities. But a lot of it is contingent upon the fact that we're building in Manhattan in some thriving, vibrant neighborhoods. The Upper East Side, you know, Clinton. We've done a lot of stuff.
They can walk over to the Equinox 3 blocks away.
That's right. So we balance the fact that, you know, we like to have storage at the very least. Doorman. Sometimes we have amenities. On Griffin Court we have as I said a large courtyard. We have a gym. But you know we're boutique condo developers, so we'd rather deliver the best product we can for our buyers. Some of them are more sensitive to the monthly costs. So you know amenities cost money. So
No question.
So our neighborhoods, for us, provide the amenities, and it hasn't hurt our sales over the years.
Let's focus, you know, later on. I mean, Susan discussed, you know, the related project on 42nd Street. You have another project that you're going to start in Flushing, the, you know, Skyview Park, and you said that you're involved with some new developments, or you're taking over like the William Beaver House, and then construction's going to be starting on Broadway. Let's talk about what else you see happening, because there hasn't been that much new construction, so maybe we'll see this impetus for new construction. I mean, what about Skyview Park? I mean, Flushing is a vibrant area. I mean, it's a totally
Undoubtedly, it's New York's new Chinatown that used to be on Canal Street. We are working with Must Development and Onyx Partners, the equity partner in that property, and we will start to market the condominium units effectively this coming week. It's a huge success so far, 150 apartments already under contract. The building has completed its retail component, which includes BJ's, Best Buy, Staples, so it really has become the epicenter of Flushing.
Bob's Furniture too.
Bob's Furniture, and there are many others. So we do see that predominantly it's a Chinese and Korean driven residential marketplace, but we are not negating opening up, you know, the demographics to other, you know, ethnicity.
Anyone who wants to come to the neighborhood and pay the price, right?
Yeah, so it's great design, fantastic views of the new City Field and the Manhattan skyline, and our price point there is about $700 to $750 a foot. So from our perspective, that's about 50% off of what a Manhattan luxury product is. So we definitely see a strong market for that.
Downtown, Lower Manhattan.
Well, overall, there's only a few thousand rentals in the pipeline left, and then there's going to be a lull. So from our perspective, if you can get the land at a reasonable cost and those developments that can, you know, arrange the financing, this is a great time to be gearing up to build. I'd love to be building into an appreciating market. The downtown market is probably a combination of some of the condo buildings working out their financing, whether they're going to rent for a period of time or sell at a discount. You've got a massive Forest City Ratner job coming on the market with 900 apartments. I think the financial district is still very viable. It's still a great transportation hub, and it's now been kind of backed up by the downtown Flatbush corridor in Brooklyn. which is also very
I mean, downtown Brooklyn, there were 4,500 units delivered to downtown Brooklyn.
and all absorbed.
And all absorbed, which I was surprised, and it really turned that around. Now you have another project that you're starting right now on near Union Square.
Right. We, with our partners Angelo Gordon, we purchased a site with air rights on 15th between 5th and 6th. We're building an extension for Xavier High School for the first 8 floors, and then we're building 60 condominiums above to about 30 stories in total. We're very excited about the project.
There was I wrote the article, I don't want to say, but we were talking about Duane Reade and the size of their stores and changing. The new Duane Reades are about 16,000 square feet as opposed to the days when they were 4,000 square feet. And part of the situation, I believe, really helps in the providing of, for your site on 42nd Street, there's no question, for a number of your sites. Because these Duane Reades today have 4,000 square feet of food. They have the grocery. You can get Starbucks. You can get fresh bakery. You can get salads. How important, in a building, is it to have these amenities? Of the little supermarket or the other thing?
I think they're very important. People, again, it comes down to lifestyle and service. We were the first owners to put in a Fresh Direct prepared meals vending machine in a building in Chelsea called Chelsea Landmark, and it gets wiped out every other day. And they constantly keep fresh meals in there, and we're amazed at how positive the residents have reacted to it. So,
it's like the milk machine when I was growing up in
Absolutely.
the basement of the building.
Get your Tabla hot meal right there. So I think, again, it talks to lifestyle. People want services, very convenient to them, and food is a big part of it. Not many people are cooking.
I would completely agree with Bob. Between Duane Reade and Chase, what other retail components are there in the city? But when Duane Reade opened up on Roosevelt Island, our Riverwalk community, that was really key for us because, again, as you speak about, the sundries, the goods, food, the conveniences are really what is attractive to our residential
but you failed to bring out, you are also in Roosevelt Island, which is Manhattan, that
That's
people
correct.
don't want to say, but it is Manhattan, and it's really, it's a unique environment. And I know the guys from the Hudson Company have been on my show a number of times, and the project
Great
is
partners
great.
of ours, David Kramer and the Hudson companies. We have the development rights, as you know, for 9 of the properties. We've completed 6 of them thus far, and we've seen a very, very strong market in the rental component. We realized a very strong condominium market, and then it quieted down a little bit, but we believe so much in the property that we took off some of our more desirable units to rent them, knowing that they have incredible Manhattan skyline views. So we do realize that at that price point, somewhere between $700 and $800 a foot, it really is a value proposition for our buyers.
Now, we spoke about Brooklyn before, but you guys are in Brooklyn. You've done things in Brooklyn.
Yeah, we built a building from the ground up across from the courthouse, Willentis building, at 199 State Street. We finished up about a year and a half ago. Just when we got our last units in contract before things got a little bit crazy, and it was a good success for us. We're looking at other opportunities in Brooklyn. We're looking to potentially purchase some notes, but those deals always take a long time to transact.
What about your thoughts of Brooklyn? I know you have.
I love Brooklyn.
I think we were talking before about the 4,500 units that were put on in downtown Brooklyn. Few people thought that Myrtle Avenue, people were going to be renting apartments on Myrtle Avenue. Now, what has been difficult in downtown Brooklyn, now where you were, was near Flatbush Avenue to sell the units. The Oro has been a little difficult. The Torrance had some definite problems. The BE was a definitely difficult situation. With 25-year tax benefits like you have at the Edge and you have in downtown Brooklyn, isn't it better maybe to buy as opposed to rent?
Well, first let me say that the Oro is actually a success story. They're 66% sold and selling at a good pace.
But after a number of years. The Oro is about 4 years already.
It had to be completed. but it has done very well. And it's a great opportunity to buy into the Flatbush corridor because it's only improving every day. There's more retail, more residential services coming in. All of the rental buildings have been absorbed. Most of the condos are on their way to being absorbed. It's just going to get better and better.
Now, since you're also the selling agent at the Oro, what is a unit sell for per foot to be over there?
In the $600 a square foot range.
So which relates to, a little bit to what Susan was saying. You can, $750 a foot in Flushing, $600 a foot at the Oro. Your properties, let's say $1,200 a foot, and just generally over there. Your property in Williamsburg is $600 to $900. If someone wants to buy, it's still a good time in certain markets. In the affordable component.
It's a very good time in Brooklyn, I think, to buy. I mean, the rental market is very strong still. The absorption was fantastic. We'd like to do projects in Brooklyn, and it's actually tough to get a rental deal, a new rental deal underwritten. So you have to look at it almost, you're forced to as a condo. And the market's been pretty resilient. The resales at 199 State Street have been anywhere from $700 to $900 a square foot.
So in summation, it looks like my apple is going to be bright for 2011 in the residential rental and sales market. Do you feel
Glowing,
that?
but not necessarily bright.
What?
Glowing.
Glowing. Okay. So
I would say steady and ripe, yes.
Steady and ripe.
I don't have a good apple metaphor, but I think that that for 2011, I think we can see a continuation of what we've seen in the past few months, the strengthening of the market, and I think it will continue as there's not that much new stuff coming on the market.
So if I invite you back later in 2011, I hope that your predictions come to fruition. And I'd like to thank Susan DeFranca, Joe Breikoff, Bob Scaglione, and last but never least, Michael Kay. See you next week.
Support for these programs has been provided by Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, and Perfect Building Maintenance, New York Community Bank, All Nation Renovation, Kilroy Architectural Windows, New York's window company, Greenberg Traurig, LLP. Additional support has been provided by AVR Realty Company, LLC, Capital One Bank, C.B. Richard Ellis, Cushman & Wakefield, Douglaston Development, Dime Savings Bank of Williamsburg, Eastern Consolidated, Hal Fettner, Durst Fettner Residential, Stephen Napolitano, First American Title Insurance Company, Friedman, LLP, Gemini Real Estate Advisors, LLC, Genova, Burns and Gian Tomasi, Grubb and Ellis, Investors Savings Bank, Jack Jaffa and Associates Real Estate Consultants, James D. Kuhn Real Estate Institute at Syracuse University, James Orphanides, Centurion Holdings, Madison Realty Capital, Markham, LLP, Marcus and Millichap Real Estate Investment Services, Margolin Weiner and Evans, LLP, Massey Knackle Realty Services, M&T Bank, Meridian Capital Group, The Moynihan Group, Newmark Knight Frank, SJP Properties, Siami Development, Sterling & Sterling Inc., RAL Companies and Affiliates, LLC, Spandrel Property Services, Urban American.